While everyone is focused on America dragging their heels on the Clarity Act, look at what's spreading around the world. Russia, Japan, Taiwan, 3 major countries passed Bitcoin and crypto laws this week. One of them is the country that America is actively trying to sanction, and this morning, breaking news, Senate Majority Leader Thune just confirmed the Clarity Act will get a vote before the August recess. The biggest countries in the world are not waiting for America. The question is whether Congress is about to be too late. Welcome back to Satoshi. Let's get into it. Before I get into it, if you're new here, hello, smash the like button, hit the subscribe, and share the show with someone who needs to see it today. Okay. This tweet dropped this morning, and this is what I want to react to first.
Leader John Thune is still likely to bring this wider crypto bill up for a vote ahead of the August recess, whether or not it can pass to get members on the record for where they stand. But at this point, a lot of work is going to need to be done for the bill to get the required 60 votes, and they do not have much time left. Guys?
Yeah, there is that deadline of the August recess, Emily, and then you've got the midterms, which are pretty much around the corner in November, which plays into the game. I mean, if the Senate loses, Republicans lose some seats there, Democrats gain in the House, that changes the landscape for this bill, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, Melissa. And look, there are Democrats who do say that they want to see regulations around crypto pass, that they are supportive of the crypto industry. But the fact of the matter is that if you look at where those folks stand, Republicans versus Democrats, it's been a much bigger priority on the Republican side than the Democratic side. And I think if you do see a divided government next year, you're going to see a lot of focus on Democrats investigating the Trump administration, probably less on moving through some of these major pieces of legislation.
Okay, this is Congressman Thune. It's been confirmed by CNBC. The Clarity Act is going to the Senate floor. And I want to talk about why the words "one shot" in that tweet are not hyperbole. Because here's the thing that's not in that tweet. The thing that doesn't make the breaking news headline. If this bill doesn't pass before August recess, or at the very latest in September, it does not come back the same way. Midterm elections are in November. Control of the Senate could change. It very well might change, actually, with the way that everything is going. Every Democrat who might cross the aisle to vote yes has a different calculation to make after election season, and every Republican who votes no gets to hide behind the result. We're talking about a window that is now measured in days, not weeks, but days. And while Congress has been running out the clock on this, the rest of the world has been moving. Let me show you exactly what I mean. July 21st, only a few days ago, Russia's State Duma passed the first comprehensive crypto law. Bitcoin is now legally recognized as property in Russia, which is crazy. If you would have told anyone this in the 1950s, they would have called you nuts. And here's the part that you need to sit with. The law explicitly creates a pathway for Russian companies to pay foreign partners in Bitcoin to root around Western sanctions. Russia, the country that the U.S. Senate is about to vote on new sanctions for, just built legal infrastructure to use Bitcoin to ignore those sanctions. Think about what that means. America invented most of the financial infrastructure that the rest of the world uses and that Russia is now bypassing. America was the first country to see significant Bitcoin ETF inflows. America has the largest concentration of Bitcoin holders in the world. And we're letting the country we're sanctioning write the rulebook on how to use Bitcoin in international trade before we've written our own? Just last year, a clip surfaced showing Russia's PM talking about how the US planned to rewrite the national debt off with a crypto check. Check this video out.
Америка прямо сейчас пытается поменять правила на рынке золота и криптовалют. Вспомните, какой у них долг. 35 триллионов долларов. В общем-то, это 2 альтернативных валютному сегменту мировых рынка. Действия Вашингтона в этом направлении отчетливо демонстрируют одну из главных американских задач. Они очень хотят решить проблему снижения доверия к доллару. США, как это было и в 30-е, и в 70-е годы, будут решать свои финансовые проблемы за счет всего мира, загоняя всех куда? В криптовалютное облако. Со временем, когда часть госдолга США будет размещена в стейблкоинах, США обесценит этот долг. Еще раз простыми словами, у них сейчас валютный 35-триллионный долг, они его загоняют в крипту, в облако, обесценивают и начинают с нуля. Это для тех, кто очень любит заниматься криптой.
Now, I want to be real with you. That might be the most base thing I've ever heard any government official say in my life. But actually, let's come down to earth. It is the government after all, especially the Russian government. The law is not actually freedom. It's a state-controlled system. Retail investors are capped at under $4,000 a year. Their central bank actually decides what you're allowed to buy. They didn't pass this because they love Bitcoin and the freedom that it affords regular citizens. They passed it because Bitcoin works and they needed it to work for them against the US dollar. But that's the whole point. Bitcoin doesn't require your government to love it. It just requires someone to figure out that it works. And eventually they might figure out that it works a little too well. And that's what the US might figure out, that our adversaries figured this out before our Senate finished their whole debate on this topic. Now, let's move on to Asia. Japan is not Russia. Japan is an ally. And what Japan just did is the version of this story that should be keeping American crypto and Bitcoin investors up at night. July 15th, Japan's parliament passed a law reclassifying Bitcoin, Ethereum, and over 100 other cryptocurrencies as financial instruments, the same legal category as stocks and bonds. What that unlocks is spot Bitcoin ETFs on the Tokyo Stock Exchange. And this is where it gets interesting, a tax rate that goes from up to 55%, one of the highest in the world, down to 20% flat. Japan just cut the crypto tax rate by more than half and opened the institutional floodgates at the same time. Capital is not patriotic. When the third largest economy on earth says Bitcoin is a legitimate financial product and we're cutting your tax bill by more than half, the money and the talent follow. Every hedge fund manager, every institutional desk, every serious builder who's looking at where to be headquartered in 2027 now has a very concrete reason to look at Tokyo. America has been promising institutional grade crypto clarity for 3 years. Japan just delivered it in one bill. That passed.
Message!
Here's what every single one of these countries has in common. They're trying to figure out what to do with Bitcoin, how to tax it, control it, regulate it, or use it. What none of them can touch is a coin in your own wallet with your own private keys. Whatever happens with the Clarity Act, whatever Russia sanctions or Japan ETFs or Taiwan reserves end up looking like, self-custody is the one position that sits out every regulatory framework being built right now. The Bitcoin way helps you get there properly. There's a free 30-minute consultation at thebitcoinway.com/simply. Tell them Satoshi sent you. And now we gotta talk about Taiwan. And Taiwan is doing two things at once. First, the law. June 30th, Taiwan passed the Virtual Asset Service Act, mandatory licensing for every crypto exchange, stablecoin reserve requirements, up to 7 years in prison for running an unlicensed operation. Taiwan built a moat. Clear rules, serious enforcement, but that is not part of the Taiwan story that is living rent-free in my head. The part that gets me is this. A Taiwanese lawmaker, Ko Ju-chung, formally delivered a Bitcoin Policy Institute report to a country's premier and central bank governor, proposing that Taiwan allocate a portion of its $602 billion foreign exchange reserves to Bitcoin as a strategic national asset. Taiwan holds $602 billion in reserves. Over 80% of it is tied to the US dollar assets. And a lawmaker stood up in front of the premier and the central bank governor and said, what if we put some of this in Bitcoin, specifically as a hedge against what China might do to our access to dollars? That legislator went on the record saying there's an 80% chance Taiwan has a strategic Bitcoin reserve within 5 years and nearly 100% within 10. A U.S. ally, one of the most strategically important economies in the world, the country that makes the chips for everything that we use, is looking at Bitcoin as a hedge against geopolitical risk, not as a speculative investment, as a reserve asset, the same way they think about gold. That's the quiet part of the story. That is the silent battle that is spreading. And then there's Europe, because Europe moved too, just, in the opposite direction, as per usual. MiCA, the EU's crypto regulatory framework, went live July 1st. And when the deadline hit, 83% of EU crypto firms were unlicensed and facing forced exit. Only 210 of more than 1,200 registered firms actually had gotten a license. Tether, the largest stablecoin in the world, refused to apply at all, which is actually pretty based. USDT is now effectively gone from regulated European exchanges. The framework was so restrictive that the capital and the talent just went elsewhere. So Europe isn't waiting either. They made their choice. They chose control over growth. And now they're watching Japan open the door to ETFs while European exchanges are shutting down. Every major economy is making a decision about what Bitcoin is and what it means to their future. Japan said financial asset. Russia said geopolitical tool. Taiwan said reserve candidate. Europe said comply or leave. And America is still deciding.
Well, we're waiting.
So let's come back to that Pete Rizzo tweet. This is our one shot. Here is why that framing is exactly right and why the midterms are the hidden deadline that nobody is talking about enough. The Clarity Act has a window right now. If it gets a floor vote and passes the Senate before August 7th or in the narrow September window when Congress comes back, there is a path to the House and then to Trump's desk. Trump said that he will sign it. But midterm elections are in November, and after November, the political math in the Senate is a little bit different. Democrats who might vote yes now are calculating a different risk. Republicans who are on the fence have different incentives, and any bill that doesn't pass before the election essentially has to start over with whatever new political reality there is. The countries that we just talked about, Japan, Russia, Taiwan, none of them were waiting for a midterm election to sort itself out. They just passed their laws. They built their frameworks. They moved. If the Clarity Act dies in 2026, American Bitcoin companies, the builders, the exchanges, the infrastructure, are looking at operating in regulatory uncertainty for at least another 2 years, or even longer. We don't know. And the countries that moved this week are not going to pause and wait for us to catch up. Japan's ETF pathways open in 2027. Russia's law takes effect September 1st. Taiwan is building the case for its central bank right now. The window is here. It's closing. And if it closes, we're not just behind. We handed the lead to countries that had every reason not to take it.
You weren't supposed to do that.
If you watch this show, you know what we're about. Freedom of speech, moving Bitcoin forward, owning your own money, and not asking permission. The Rumble wallet is built for exactly that. They just launched their new wallet, and the setup is simple. Head over to wallet.rumble.com/simply and use code SIMPLY to get $10 free today. Self-sovereign, self-custody, and it supports the platform and creators who actually stand for something. Go grab your $10 at wallet.rumble.com/simply, code SIMPLY10. I want to leave you with this. The countries moving on Bitcoin right now aren't doing it because they love freedom, or at least Russia isn't. They are doing it because Bitcoin just works. It solves real problems in international trade, in reserve management, in institutional investment that no other asset solves in the same way. And the irony is that the country that was supposed to lead with this, the country with the largest Bitcoin holders, the largest ETFs, the most builders, the most innovation, is sitting in a Senate committee room arguing about an ethics clause. We have one shot. Thune confirmed the vote is coming. The window is very real. Stack accordingly. And if you have a senator, maybe you should call them. And if you want to turn your dollars into Bitcoin the easy way, Bitcoin Well makes it simple. No KYC headaches, no exchange games. Bitcoin Well makes it simple. Buy, sell, and receive Bitcoin directly to your own wallet. Head to bitcoinwell.com and tell them Satoshi sent you. Thanks for watching Simply Bitcoin Satoshi. Don't forget to smash the like button, share the show with your friends, drop a comment below because I read them all, and follow me on X at InternetSophie. And as always, stack, slay, and stay bullish, baby.